Saddam Hussein, best-known Middle Eastern dictator. In the tumultuous landscape of modern history, few figures have sparked as much controversy and intrigue as Saddam Hussein.
I take the threat very seriously. He develops weapons of mass destruction.
يا حب من حب القائد صدام الرئيس والوالد يا حب من حب القائد
يسمو بيده ذو الفقار من المثنى الشيمة والفخار ومن التأميم يا أحلى قرار.
Saddam Hussein's story is a gripping tale of ambition, tyranny, and geopolitical consequences. He ruled Iraq from 1979 until his overthrow and capture by a US-led coalition in 2003. Born on April 28, 1937, in the small village of Al-Ajah, Iraq, Saddam Hussein came from humble beginnings. But through a mix of charisma, cunning, and ruthlessness, he would ultimately become one of the most influential and controversial leaders of the 20th century. Saddam's political journey began in the 1950s, when he joined the Arab Ba'ath Socialist Party. He quickly climbed the ranks, utilizing his intelligence and ambition to become the party's general secretary in 1979. That same year, Saddam orchestrated a coup, seizing control of the Iraqi government. Saddam Hussein ruled Iraq with an iron fist, establishing a totalitarian regime that suppressed dissent and consolidated power. Widespread human rights abuses, including the infamous Anfal campaign against the Kurds and the brutal suppression of uprisings in the Shiite-dominated South. Saddam Hussein's actions also had far-reaching consequences on the international stage. His invasion of Iran in 1980 sparked a brutal 8-year-long conflict known as the Iran-Iraq War. Causing immense human suffering and strained relations with neighboring countries and the international community. But it was Saddam's invasion of Kuwait in 1990 that would ultimately lead to his downfall. The international coalition, led by the United States, launched Operation Desert Storm, pushing Iraqi forces out of Kuwait in a swift military campaign. After the Gulf War, Saddam Hussein's grip on power began to slip. Years of economic sanctions and internal dissent weakened his regime.
Of tower number 1, and that is the only building
it's exploding right now, Tommy. We're seeing
2000, the world witnessed a series of coordinated terrorist attacks that forever changed the course of history. The Twin Towers collapsed sent shockwaves around the world, claiming the lives of nearly 3,000 innocent people. The U.S. government sought to link Iraq to terrorism, a collaboration between Saddam Hussein and al-Qaeda. One of the primary justifications presented by the U.S. government was the belief that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction and posed a significant threat to regional and global security. The Bush administration, relying on intelligence reports, argued that Saddam Hussein's regime had the capability to produce and deploy these weapons.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are opening stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign. More than 35 countries are giving crucial support, from the use of naval and air bases, to help with intelligence and logistics, to the deployment of combat units. Every nation in this coalition has chosen to bear the duty and share the honor of serving in our common defense. To all the men and women of the United States Armed Forces now in the Middle East, the peace of a troubled world and the hopes of an oppressed people now depend on you.
In 2003, the United States and its allies invaded Iraq, toppling Saddam's regime in a matter of weeks.
This is George W. Bush, the President of the United States. At this moment, the regime of Saddam Hussein is being removed from power, and a long era of fear and cruelty is ending. The government of Iraq and the future of your country will soon belong to you. Major combat operations in Iraq have ended. In the Battle of Iraq, the United States and our allies have prevailed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Captured by U.S. forces, Saddam Hussein faced trial for crimes against humanity.
فأنا أدري هنالك ضغط عليك. أنا أواجه واحد من أبنائي وأناقشه، لكن مو من أجلي، أنا هاي اللي أقولها، مو من أجلي أناقشه، من أجل العراق.
He was found guilty and sentenced to death.
قررت المحكمة الحكم على المدان صدام حسين المجيد بالإعدام شنقا حتى الموت لارتكاب عمد كجريمة ضد الإنسانية وفق المادة 12 أولاً أليف بدلالة المادة 12 أولاً ثانياً.
On December 30th, 2006, Saddam was executed, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter for Iraq. Saddam Hussein's legacy is a complicated one. While his regime was marked by oppression and violence, his actions reverberated throughout the Middle East, reshaping the region's political landscape. Today, Iraq grapples with the consequences of its rule, seeking a path toward stability and reconciliation.